I came home from 8 months in Afghanistan to find my garage empty. My prized classic car collection sold by my wife for what she claimed was a desperate $45,000 to save our house. But when I discovered the auction records showing my cars actually sold for over $200,000, I realized this wasn't just betrayal. It was part of something much bigger that would expose a criminal conspiracy targeting military families across the country. What happens when a soldier discovers his own wife has been working with criminals to systematically rob deployed veterans blind? My garage was empty. 3 parking spots where my classic cars should have been sitting stared back at me like missing teeth in a smile. 8 months in Afghanistan, and I had dreamed about this moment every single night. The plane ride home to Stone Bay felt like forever. All I could think about was seeing Ella and my 1967 Mustang Fastback. That red beauty took me 2 years to restore. Then my 1969 Camaro SS, black with white racing stripes, I painted myself. But my real treasure was the 1963 Corvette split window. Dad helped me buy it before he died. 20 years of collecting and working weekends to build my dream collection. Ella picked me up at the base. Something felt wrong right away. Her hug was too quick, and she kept looking at her phone instead of at me. "Welcome home, Kyle," she said, but her voice sounded strange, like she was reading from a script. "I missed you so much," I told her, throwing my army bag in the back seat. "I can't wait to take the Mustang for a drive." "Did you start her up like I asked?" Ella's hands gripped the steering wheel tighter. "About that. We need to talk." My stomach dropped. "Talk about what?" "Later," she said quickly. "Let's get some food first. You must be hungry after that long flight." But I wasn't hungry. I was worried. Ella never avoided my questions. In 12 years of marriage, she always told me everything. At least I thought she did. We drove through town, taking the long way home. Ella talked about her sister Kelly's new job and Jared helping around the house. Jared was her older brother who never liked my cars. He called them rust buckets and said I wasted money on junk. "Did Jared come by a lot while I was gone?" I asked. Ella's face turned red. "He just helped with a few things. You know how hard it is for me when you're deployed." Finally, we pulled into our driveway. The garage door was closed, which was weird. I always left it open a crack for airflow. Classic cars need to breathe. "The door's been broken for weeks," Ella said before I could ask. "Some problem with the motor." I got out of the car and walked over to the garage. The door wasn't broken. It had a big silver padlock on it. A new one that I had never seen before. "Ella, why is there a lock on our garage?" She came up behind me, and I could hear her breathing faster. "Security reasons. There have been break-ins in the neighborhood." "Break-ins?" "You never told me about any break-ins in your letters. I didn't want to worry you while you were fighting for our country." Something in her voice made me turn around. Ella was crying, but they weren't happy tears. They were the kind of tears people cry when they're scared of getting caught. "Open the garage, Ella." "Kyle, let's go inside first. I'll make you some coffee and we can." "Open it now." Her hands shook as she pulled the key from her pocket. The padlock clicked open, and I grabbed the garage door handle. It rolled up easily. The motor wasn't broken at all. The garage was empty. Not just my cars, everything. My toolboxes, car lift, even Dad's old workbench. Oil stains marked where my Mustang used to sit. Dark rectangles on the wall showed where my tools had hung. "Where are my cars, Ella?" She was sobbing now. "Kyle, I can explain everything. You have to understand." "Where are they?" "They're gone." Those 2 words hit me like a punch to the stomach. Gone. My life's work, my father's memory, my dreams. All gone. Gone where? Ella wiped her nose with her sleeve. "I had to sell them, Kyle. We needed the money." "You had to sell them? Without asking me? Without even telling me? You were in Afghanistan. I couldn't reach you for weeks at a time. The bills were piling up, and Jared said..." "Jared said what?" Ella looked down at her feet. "He said they were just cars. He said we could get new ones later when you got home." My hands shook now. Not from fear like in combat, but from anger. Those weren't just cars. They were my history, my passion, my connection to Dad. The Corvette still had his lucky dice hanging from the mirror. How much did you get for them? Enough to catch up on the mortgage payments. How much, Ella? $45,000. For all three.
Esther daher.
45,000? My Corvette alone was worth more than that. Way more. I had insurance papers that proved it. Who bought them? Jared handled everything through his auction house. He said it was better that way, cleaner. No paperwork for you to worry about. Jared's auction house. Golden Valley Classics. I should have known. He had been trying to get Ella to sell my cars for years. Show me the paperwork. What paperwork? The sales receipts, Ella. The bank deposits. Show me where the money went. Her face went white. I don't have all that with me right now. It's at Jared's office. Then we're going to Jared's office. Kyle, it's late. He's probably closed by now. I pulled out my phone and called information. Golden Valley Classics was open until 9 on weekdays. It was only 7:30. Get in the car, Ella. We're going to have a talk with your brother. As we drove across town, Ella talked about how sorry she was and had no choice. But I wasn't listening. I was thinking about insurance papers hidden in my army footlocker. Papers showing my cars were worth 10 times what she claimed. Either Jared ripped her off or Ella was lying about the money. Maybe both. But I was going to find out the truth, even if it destroyed our marriage. Jared was counting money when we walked into Golden Valley Classics. Thick stacks of cash spread across his desk like some twisted Monopoly game. He looked up and his face went white. Kyle, you're back early. Ella didn't tell me you were coming home today. Ella stood behind me, shaking. Jared, Kyle wants to see the paperwork from the car sales. What paperwork? Jared asked, his eyes darting around the room like a trapped animal. The receipts showing you sold my cars for $45,000. Jared laughed, but it sounded fake. Oh, that paperwork. Sure. Let me find it. He shuffled through papers on his desk, moving money stacks to cover something underneath. Jared, stop playing games. Show me the real numbers. These are the real numbers, Kyle. Your wife can tell you. 45,000, just like she said. I walked closer to his desk and saw what he was hiding. Computer screen showing auction results. My heart stopped when I read, 1963 Corvette split window coupe, sold $87,000. $87,000? For just the Corvette. Jared slammed the laptop shut. That's a different car, Kyle. Not yours. Open it back up. Kyle, you're being crazy. Ella. Tell him he's being crazy. Ella wasn't saying anything. She stared at the floor like she wanted to disappear. That's when I knew for sure she had been lying. Ella, did you know my Corvette sold for $87,000? Jared told me it was only worth $15,000. He said classic cars weren't selling well because of the economy. Jared stood up fast, knocking his chair over. Ella, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't tell my wife to shut up, I said, stepping closer. Open that computer now, or I'm calling the police. You can't call the police. This is a legal business transaction between family members. Family members. That made my stomach sick. Ella had trusted her own brother, and he had stolen from us both. Open it, Jared. Jared's hands shook as he opened the laptop. The auction results filled the screen. My 1967 Mustang sold for $52,000. My 1969 Camaro went for $67,000. My Corvette brought in $87,000. That's $206,000 total, I said slowly. Where's my money, Jared? Kyle, you have to understand. There were fees. Auction house fees. Transportation costs. Storage fees. How much in fees? Jared was sweating now. Big drops rolling down his face. About 60%. 60%? That's over $100,000 in fees. It's expensive to run an auction house, Kyle. You don't understand the business. Ella was crying again. Jared, you told me the fees were only $5,000. You said that's why Kyle would only get $45,000. Jared spun around to face Ella. You weren't supposed to tell him that. We agreed you would handle Kyle when he got back. Handle me. The words came out like ice. Handle me how, Ella? Ella was sobbing hard. Jared said you'd be so happy to be home that you wouldn't ask questions about the money. He said soldiers just want to forget money problems when they come back from war. And what was your plan after that? Keep lying to me forever. We were going to buy you a new car. Jared said we could get you a new Mustang for $30,000, and you'd never know the difference. I stared at my wife. The woman who promised to love and honor me had planned to replace my father's memory with some factory car from a dealership, like my history meant nothing. Jared, where's the rest of my money? Kyle, listen. I can make this right. I've got investments about to pay off big. Real estate deals, crypto stuff. You'll get every penny back, plus interest. I want my money now. I don't have it now, but I can get it. Give me a few weeks. You don't have it because you spent it. What did you spend my money on, Jared? Jared looked at Ella, then back at me. Some of it went to pay off Ella's credit cards. She had run up some bills while you were deployed. What bills? Ella's face turned red. Shopping. I was lonely, Kyle. When you're gone for months, I get depressed. Buying things made me feel better. How much shopping, Ella? $20,000. Jared answered for her. Maybe 25. Ella was looking at the floor again. More like 40,000. $40,000? In 8 months? What did you buy? Clothes, jewelry, spa treatments with Kelly. She said I deserved to treat myself because my husband was off playing soldier. Playing soldier. Like dodging bullets and watching friends die was some game. Where's the rest of the money, Jared? Jared was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, I used some to buy Kelly a car. She needed transportation, and family helps family. You bought Kelly a car with my money? A nice BMW. She really needed it for her new job. I felt something break inside my chest. These people had taken everything I cared about and treated it like their personal piggy bank. My cars, my father's memory, my deployment pay, my trust, gone. Jared, I want every dollar back, plus interest within 30 days. If you don't have it, I'm filing fraud charges against both of you. You can't file charges against your own wife. Watch me. I turned to walk out, but Ella grabbed my arm. Kyle, where are you going? To see a lawyer and call my insurance company. Those cars were insured for their full value. Jared's face went white again. Insurance? But you can't file an insurance claim if the cars were sold, not stolen. That's where you're wrong, Jared. When someone sells your property without permission, that's called theft. Even if they're married to you. As I walked toward the door, I heard Ella collapse into a chair behind me. She was finally understanding what she had done. But it was too late for sorry. The real question was, how much more had they hidden from me? Phone records don't lie. That's what I learned the next morning when I called our cell phone company. Ella had made 67 calls to Jared during my deployment. Not once did she call me during those same weeks when I needed to hear her voice. I sat in our kitchen, spreading papers across the table like evidence at a crime scene. Bank statements, credit card bills, phone records, everything Ella thought I'd never see. She was still asleep upstairs, probably dreaming about the lies she'd tell me next. My hands stopped shaking when I found the real smoking gun. A text message from 3 months ago that Ella forgot to delete. Kyle's insurance papers are in his footlocker. The cars are worth way more than we told him. What do we do now? Jared's response made my blood turn cold. Stick to the plan. He trusts you. Soldiers are stupid about money anyway. Soldiers are stupid about money. I'd risked my life for this country while my own wife plotted to rob me blind. The front door opened, and Kelly walked in without knocking. Ella's sister always treated our house like her personal hotel. She froze when she saw me at the table. Kyle, you're back. Ella didn't tell me you were home already. Sit down, Kelly. We need to talk. Kelly's face went pale. She knew. They all knew. Talk about what? About the BMW in your driveway. The one Jared bought you with my money. Kelly collapsed into a chair like someone had cut her strings. Kyle, I can explain. Explain how you helped my wife steal from me while I was getting shot at in Afghanistan? It wasn't like that. Ella was struggling. She was lonely and depressed. And Jared said the cars were just sitting there doing nothing. So you all decided to help yourselves. Kelly started crying. We didn't mean for it to go this far. At first, it was just going to be one car to help with the mortgage. But then Ella's credit cards were maxed out. And I needed a car for work. And Jared said a lot of things, didn't he? He said you'd never find out. He said military guys never check their finances when they come home because they're too happy to be alive. Another knife in the back. They'd planned this for months, counting on me being too grateful to be home to ask hard questions. Ella came downstairs in her bathrobe, rubbing her eyes. She stopped dead when she saw Kelly crying at our kitchen table. What's going on? Kelly was just telling me about her new car, the one you bought her with my money. Ella's face went white. Kyle, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You three planned this whole thing. You used my deployment as your personal shopping spree. I pulled out the printed text messages and spread them on the table. Ella's hands shook as she read her own words back to herself. Where did you get these? Our phone bill. Amazing what you can see when you actually look. Kelly was sobbing harder now. Ella, you said Kyle would never find out. You said he'd be too busy adjusting to civilian life to worry about money. Shut up, Kelly. Don't tell her to shut up. Let her talk. Kelly, what else did Ella tell you about me? Kelly looked at Ella, then back at me. She said you were probably going to have PTSD and wouldn't be thinking clearly for months. She said that would give us time to cover everything up. The words hit me like a slap. Ella had planned to use my possible war trauma as cover for her theft. She'd actually hoped I'd come home broken so she could keep stealing from me. Ella, is that true? Ella couldn't look at me. Kyle, we were going to pay you back. Jared had a business plan. Jared's business plan was to steal my cars and gamble the money away. Where's the rest of it, Ella? What rest of it? I pulled out another piece of paper. Jared's gambling receipts that I'd found in Ella's purse. Casino visits every week while I was deployed. Horse racing bets. Online poker accounts. You gave Jared gambling money. My money. While I was dodging bullets, you were feeding my life savings to slot machines. Ella started crying again, but I didn't feel sorry for her anymore. Kyle, I didn't know about the gambling. Jared said he was investing it. Investing it at the racetrack? Kelly wiped her nose. Ella, you knew. We all knew Jared had a problem. That's why we had to keep giving him more money. Shut up, Kelly. You're making it worse. Worse for who, Ella? Worse for you? Because it can't get much worse for me. My wife stole everything I cared about and gave it to her gambling addict brother. I stood up from the table. Here's what's going to happen. You're both going to Jared's office with me right now. We're going to get every penny back, or I'm calling the police. Kyle, please. No more please. No more sorry. No more lies. Get dressed. We're going to end this today. As Ella ran upstairs to get dressed, Kelly grabbed my arm. Kyle, there's something else you need to know. What now? Jared didn't just steal your car money. He took out a loan using your house as collateral. If he doesn't pay it back by next month, you could lose everything. My house. The one I'd been paying for 12 years. The one Ella was supposed to protect while I was gone. They hadn't just stolen my past. They'd destroyed my future too. The loan papers were hidden in Jared's office safe. But Kelly knew the combination. While Jared was at lunch, we went through his files like detectives searching a crime scene. $25,000 borrowed against my house. Signed with Ella's name as co-owner. Due in 3 weeks, or the bank would start foreclosure proceedings. Ella, you signed our house away? Jared said it was just temporary. He said his big real estate deal would pay off, and we'd pay back the loan before you ever knew about it. What real estate deal? Kelly pulled out another folder. The one that doesn't exist. Jared made it all up. There never was any real estate deal. Just more gambling debts. I sat down in Jared's chair and tried to understand how deep this betrayal went. My cars were gone. My money was gone. My house was about to be taken away. and my wife had helped plan it all. Ella, how long have you been planning to leave me? What? Don't lie anymore. I found the divorce lawyer's business card in your purse. The consultation appointment for next month. You were going to wait until I lost the house, then divorce me and claim I was an unfit husband. Ella collapsed into a chair. Kyle, that's not. I wasn't. You were going to take everything and leave me with nothing. Make me look like a crazy veteran who couldn't handle his finances. Kelly was staring at her sister like she'd never seen her before. Ella, you never told me about a divorce lawyer. Because it wasn't supposed to go that far. The plan was to pay everything back before Kyle noticed. With what money, Ella? Jared gambled it all away. He promised he could win it back. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. You bet our marriage on Jared's gambling luck. And when that failed, you decided to destroy me completely. Ella was sobbing now. Real tears this time, not the fake ones she'd been using to manipulate me. Kyle, I still love you. I never wanted to hurt you. You stole my father's memory. You sold the last things he left me. You used my deployment pay for shopping sprees. You put our house up as collateral for your brother's gambling debts. And you planned to divorce me and blame it all on war trauma. I was scared, Kyle. You were gone for so long. And the bills kept coming. And Jared kept saying he could fix everything. So you decided to fix it by destroying everything I'd worked for? The office door opened, and Jared walked in carrying a sandwich. He stopped dead when he saw us going through his files. What are you doing in my office? Looking at what you did with my house, Jared. Jared's face went white when he saw the loan papers in my hands. Kyle, I can explain. Explain how you forged my signature? I didn't forge anything. Ella signed it. She's your wife. She has legal right to. She has the right to put our house up as collateral without telling me? Jared loosened his tie like it was choking him. Kyle, you have to understand. I had a sure thing. A horse race with inside information. I just needed seed money to bet big. You needed seed money? So you stole my cars and mortgaged my house? It was supposed to be a loan. I was going to pay everything back with interest. Kelly stood up from where she'd been looking through more files. Jared, I found the other loan papers. What other loan papers? Kelly held up a stack of documents. He took out 3 more loans, Kyle, using the auction house as collateral, and 1 using Ella's car. If any of these don't get paid back, Jared loses his business, Ella loses her car, and you lose your house. I felt like I was drowning. The betrayal kept getting deeper and deeper. Ella, did you know about all these loans?
No.
Jared told me it was just 1 small loan to cover temporary cash flow. Jared, where's all the money? Jared sat down heavily in his chair. Gone. Gone where? Bad bets. The horses didn't come in. The poker games went wrong. The real estate deal I thought was sure fell through. How much is gone? All of it. The room went quiet except for Ella's crying. $200,000 from my cars. $25,000 from the house loan. Whatever Jared had borrowed against his business and Ella's car. All gone. Jared, I want every penny back in 3 weeks, or I'm filing criminal charges. Kyle, I don't have it. I can't get it. Then you better figure something out, because if I lose my house because of your gambling, I'm going to make sure you lose everything too. I stood up and looked at Ella. Pack your bags. What? You heard me. Pack your bags and get out of my house. Tonight. Kyle, please. I'm your wife. You were my wife. Now you're just another person who stole from me. As I walked toward the door, Ella grabbed my arm. Where am I supposed to go? Ask Jared. Ask Kelly. Ask your divorce lawyer. I don't care anymore. Kyle, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. We can. Ella, you sold my father's Corvette to buy your sister a BMW. You mortgaged our house to cover your brother's gambling debts. You planned to divorce me and blame it on war trauma. There's nothing left to work out. I left them all sitting in that office, crying and making excuses. But I wasn't done yet. Jared thought he'd stolen everything from me. But he'd made one big mistake. He'd never seen my real insurance papers. Federal agents surrounded Jared's office building like a crime scene. Because it was. Agent Sarah Huxley from the FBI Financial Crimes Unit had been tracking Jared for 6 months before I called them. Jared Sinclair has been running this scam on military families for 3 years. Agent Huxley explained as FBI techs carried computers out of Golden Valley Classics. 3 years. While I served my country, Jared hunted military wives like prey. How many other families? 14 that we know of. Deployed soldiers whose wives got desperate for money. Jared would offer to help sell their belongings, then keep most of the cash. My stomach turned. Ella wasn't just a cheating wife. She was part of a criminal organization that targeted heroes. Agent Huxley led me into a conference room where evidence boxes covered every table. Bank statements, loan documents, insurance claims. Jared's entire criminal empire spread out like a puzzle. We froze all of Jared's accounts this morning. He had almost $200,000 sitting in various banks. That money belongs to you. $200,000. Not enough to replace my cars, but enough to prove Jared had been lying about losing everything to gambling. What about Ella? Your wife is in serious trouble. Wire fraud, conspiracy, theft of military property. She's looking at 15 years in federal prison. 15 years. Ella would be almost 50 when she got out. However, she's willing to cooperate. She wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? Full confession, testifying against Jared, and returning anything she still has that belongs to you. In exchange, we'd recommend 5 years. She still has things that belong to me? More than you know. We executed a search warrant on your house this morning. Ella had hidden quite a bit in places she thought you'd never look. 2 hours later, I stood in my basement looking at evidence boxes filled with my belongings. Things I thought were long gone. My father's mechanic tools, wrapped in cloth and stored behind the water heater. Photo albums of me and Dad working on cars together, hidden under Ella's craft supplies. Even my deployment medals, which Ella told me were lost. She kept everything that connected you to your father, Agent Huxley observed. We found Ella's diary. Agent Huxley handed me a pink notebook. She documented everything. Every conversation with Jared. Every lie she told you. I opened to a random page and read Ella's handwriting. Jared says Kyle is too trusting to figure out what we're doing. Military guys believe what their wives tell them because they have to trust someone while they're deployed. We can take everything and he'll just blame himself. They'd studied me like a lab rat. Used my weaknesses against me. Ella wrote about finding your insurance papers 3 months before you came home. She knew exactly how much your cars were worth, but she told Jared they were only worth $40,000. She lied to Jared too? Ella was planning to double-cross him, take her share of the money and disappear while you were still deployed. I sat down hard. Ella hadn't just betrayed me. She'd betrayed everyone. Where's Ella now? Detention center downtown. She's been asking to see you. What does she want? She says she has information about your cars. Where they were sold, who bought them, how to get them back. But she'll only talk to you. And if I don't go? Then those cars are probably gone forever. The people who bought them did so legally. Without Ella's cooperation, we can't prove they knew the cars were stolen. My cars. The real ones Dad and I built together. Not insurance money or replacements, but the actual Mustang, Camaro, and Corvette. If I go see Ella, and she gives me information about my cars, does her deal get better? Depends on how valuable the information is. If she helps us recover stolen property, yes. I thought about Dad teaching me to change oil in our old garage. Set up the meeting. Kyle, I have to warn you. Ella is manipulative. She's going to try to make you feel sorry for her. Convince you that she's the real victim. I spent 8 months dodging bullets from people who wanted to kill me. I think I can handle my lying ex-wife. Ella had taken these things not because they were valuable, but because she knew losing them would break my heart. She'd been wrong about one thing. I wasn't as trusting as she thought, and I definitely wasn't as forgiving. The federal detention center looked like every other government building. Gray concrete and bulletproof glass. Walking through those security doors felt like entering enemy territory. Ella sat at a metal table in an orange jumpsuit, looking smaller than I remembered. Prison had already changed her. Dark circles under her eyes where perfect makeup used to be. Kyle, thank you for coming. I'm not here to reconcile, Ella. I'm here for information about my cars. Ella's face crumpled. Kyle, I know you hate me. I destroyed everything good between us. The only thing I need to understand is where my cars are. Ella wiped her eyes with her sleeve. Jared sold them to private collectors. But I kept records of everything. Names, addresses, phone numbers. I can help you get them back. Why would you help me now? Because I still love you, Kyle. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. I loved you so much that I was terrified of losing you. You were terrified of losing me. So you stole everything I cared about? I was scared you'd come home changed, damaged. I thought if we had money, we'd be happier. I stared at Ella across that metal table. Even now, even facing 15 years in prison, she was still lying to herself. Ella, you sold my father's Corvette to buy your sister a BMW. That wasn't about protecting our future. That was about greed. Ella looked down at her hands. You're right. I got greedy. Jared kept showing me all this money, and I forgot what really mattered. What really mattered was honesty, trust, loyalty. Things you threw away for $40,000. Kyle, if I give you the information about your cars, will you consider visiting me in prison? I looked at this woman who'd shared my bed for 12 years, who'd promised to love me in sickness and health, who'd sold my memories while I risked my life for strangers. Give me the information first, Ella. Then we'll see. 3 phone calls later, I had the most amazing conversation of my life. Frank Thornton, Vietnam veteran and classic car collector, had bought my 1963 Corvette from Jared's auction for $87,000. Son, I had no idea that car was stolen from a deployed soldier, Frank said over the phone. If I'd known that, I never would have bought it. Mr. Thornton, I appreciate that, but you paid good money for the car. It's legally yours now. Kyle, can I call you Kyle? I've been collecting cars for 30 years. I've owned Ferraris, Porsches, Lamborghinis, but your Corvette is special. The moment I drove it, I could feel the love that went into it. My dad and I worked on that car for 2 years. It shows. Every bolt, every piece of chrome, every inch of leather was done with care. That's not just a car, son. That's a rolling memorial to your father. I felt tears starting and wiped them away. Mr. Thornton, what are you trying to tell me? I'm trying to tell you that car belongs with you, not me. I'm driving it to your house tomorrow morning, and I'm giving it back. Sir, I can't let you do that. You'd lose $87,000. Frank laughed. Kyle, money comes and goes. But a man's connection to his father? That's priceless. Besides, I'm 73 years old. What am I going to do with all this money? The next morning, I heard the rumble of a familiar engine in my driveway. Dad's Corvette sounded exactly the same as the day Ella sold it. Frank Thornton got out and walked toward me with a smile. You must be Kyle. Yes, sir. Mr. Thornton, I still can't believe you're doing this. Frank handed me the keys. Kyle, I lost my son in Iraq in 2005. He was a Marine, 22 years old. When he deployed, I gave him my lucky compass that I'd carried in Vietnam. I'm sorry for your loss, sir. Thank you. But here's the thing. After Tommy died, I spent years trying to get that compass back from the army. It was just a cheap compass from a surplus store, but it was the last connection I had to my boy. Frank wiped his eyes with his sleeve. They finally sent it to me 2 years later. Just a piece of metal and glass, but when I held it, I could feel Tommy with me again. That's how this car makes you feel about your dad. Yes, sir. Then it belongs with you. Frank pulled out the title and signed it over to me. No charge, no payment plan, no strings attached. Just a gift from one veteran to another. I walked over to my Corvette and ran my hand along the fender. Everything was perfect. The paint job Dad and I had spent months perfecting. The interior we'd reupholstered together. Even the lucky dice were hanging from the mirror exactly where we'd left them. Mr. Thornton, I don't know how to thank you. You already did, son. You served your country with honor. That's thanks enough. As Frank climbed into his pickup truck to leave, he rolled down the window. Kyle, there's something else you should know. I called the other two collectors who bought your Mustang and Camaro. Told them your story. What did they say? They're both veterans too. Korea and Desert Storm. They'll be here this afternoon to return your other cars. I couldn't speak. 3 strangers were giving me back my entire collection, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, just because it was the right thing to do. Why would they do that? Frank smiled. Because we take care of our own, Kyle. What Jared and your wife did to you was an attack on all military families. We're not going to let them win. That afternoon, my driveway looked like a classic car show. My 1967 Mustang Fastback and 1969 Camaro SS came home, delivered by 2 more veterans who refused any payment. These cars belong with their builder, said Tom Fletcher, the Korean War vet who returned my Mustang. Your wife and her brother picked the wrong family to mess with, added Jim Parker, who brought back my Camaro. Veterans stick together. As the sun set, I sat in my garage surrounded by all 3 cars. Every tool was back in its place. Every photo of Dad was on the workbench where it belonged. Even my deployment medals were hanging on the wall again. My phone buzzed. A text from Agent Huxley. Jared pleaded guilty to all charges. 15 years federal prison. Ella gets 5 years for cooperation. Your insurance payout is being processed. $415,000. $400,000 plus my cars back. More money than I'd ever dreamed of. And every car I thought I'd lost forever. Another text came in from an unknown number. Kyle, this is Ella. I heard you got your cars back. I'm happy for you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope someday you can remember the good times we had together. I read the message twice, then deleted it. There had been good times with Ella, but those memories belonged to a different Kyle. One who trusted people at face value and believed love was enough. This Kyle knew better. This Kyle understood that some people will betray you for money, lie to your face for months, and plan your destruction while you're risking your life for strangers. But this Kyle also learned something else. Real honor still exists in the world. Men like Frank Thornton, Tom Fletcher, and Jim Parker prove that good people will sacrifice their own money to do what's right. I started Dad's Corvette and listened to the engine purr. Tomorrow I'd take it for a drive and remember all the Sunday afternoons we'd spent working on it together. Ella had tried to steal my past, but she'd actually given me something better. She'd taught me the difference between people who take and people who give. And she'd shown me which kind of person I wanted to be. The kind who builds things instead of stealing them. The kind who honors promises instead of breaking them. The kind who would rather lose money than lose integrity. Dad would have been proud.